Well, good morning. It is Monday, the 20th of January, and Donald J. Trump, will be inaugurated the 47th President of the United States. If that doesn't sober you up from a weekend hangover, I'm not sure what will. Well, welcome to Scorched Earth. I'm your host, John. Hit that subscribe button. Unless you're a jerk, then I really don't care. And leave comments, okay? And for everybody else out there, I know you're looking at me saying, whoa, what's Brad Pitt doing a podcast for? This just in, I'm not Brad Pitt, okay? I get that all the time. And off we run. I was going to start with the Trump inauguration today, but I want to start with something else that's a little more poignant, it seems like, on the social media landscape, and that's the TikTok ban. That went into effect on Saturday night, and I believe for 12 to 13 hours, TikTok was offline. And the earth cried, and the social media landscape screamed, and the world was coming to an end. And somehow we're still here on Monday. Not sure how that all worked, but here we go. I was talking to a very ardent TikTok fan yesterday, and it is amazing the dialogue we had. She started out by telling me that taking TikTok away was taking away her rights. And I pointed out that it's not taking away your rights, it's taking away a service. That's all it is. It's just taking away a service. Now, maybe your preferred service, but there is other services. It's like me saying, well, we're going to take away all the taxis in Las Vegas, and that's just what it's going to be. But you can take the metro, you can take an Uber, you can take a bus, you can do another of other things. You're still going to be able to get from point A to point B. Now, it may not be the way you like it, which of course gets into point number 2 that this little lady said. She said, well, all my friends are on there. We have to, they're taking away our opportunities to make money. This is unfair. If they take away TikTok, they can take away anything. Well, first of all, the government can take away anything. They can. But let's understand this, and let's make this painfully clear to everybody out there. We have more rights today than we have ever had in the history of humanity. Now, most people are sitting there saying, what's he talking about? Has he been drinking again? Trust me, after that Eagles-Rams game, I should have started drinking. But what we're looking at is, as the world expands, we get more opportunities, we get more rights, we get more privileges. And let's be honest, Americans are spoiled. Hey, that's why we're the greatest country in the world. We have more things than anybody else in the world, and we get accustomed to it, and we honestly think we're privileged to have them. And you know what? That's great. I got no problem. It's like the person who tells me they're going to spoil their dog. I think that's the greatest thing in the world. Spoil that dog. Go ahead. That's the beautiful thing. I'm glad Americans can be spoiled. It means we have achieved the highest level of living of anywhere in the world. But 20 years ago, we didn't have social media. We didn't have TikTok. We didn't have Snapchat. We didn't have Instagram. We didn't have this. This didn't exist. Now we have a voice. We have rights. Sure, as the universe of our rights extends and expands, they're going to trim a little back. Sure. But we're not going to all jump up and down like Rumpelstiltskin and say, give me my rights back. If you could do this, you could do it at any time. Of course they can. They're the government. And let's make something very, very clear, that the TikTokers out there, which I think they do have some valid concerns. This ban was approved by the House, which is controlled by the Republicans, and was approved by the Senate and signed into law by Joe Biden. It was a bipartisan effort. The Republicans were on board. This isn't Joe Biden, got crazy one night, just drew up a piece of paper, played tic-tac-toe, and then said, oh, you know what? Tic-tac-toe? No, it's TikTok. I'm going to ban it. I lost again. No, that's not what happened. So now, President Trump is going to give them 90 days to, quote unquote, get their house in order. I was kind of a little suspicious about all this. And that same lady told me that the TikTok ban was coming, and I got to be honest, I was 100% wrong. She was absolutely right about this. She said it's coming, and I said, no, I'm not hearing anything about it. I mean, this is literally one of the most valuable entities in the world, and I haven't heard anybody bidding on it. Some guy from Shark Tank? Come on. Give me a break. Frank McCourt from the Dodgers? Him? Come on. This is an entity that is going to go for a price that we've never seen. I'm talking, this is going to make the price for Twitter, which $44 billion, it's going to make it seem like that was chump change, like the change you give to the homeless guy at the gas station. This is going to go for $200, $300, $400 billion. And I didn't hear anything about it. I mean, all these guys think they're going to get it on the cheap, and they're not going to get it with the algorithm and blah, 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 blah. They're all idiots. They're all trying to get it on the cheap, and it's not going to happen. This just in, I find out today that the TikTok CEO, Shou Shu, is going to be at the inauguration. Oh, what a shock. I really would like to see that bullpen section where we got Bezos, we got Zuckerberg, we have the cat from Google, we got Elon Musk, we got Shou Shu. Who don't we have? I think I am literally the only person in the tech world who will not be there. It's just crazy. But we're going to see. So he's going to sign an executive action at noon Eastern time. And I guess we're going to have 90 days. And the world breathed a sigh of relief because the old TikTok was back. I will say this, that there's irrefutable evidence that the vice president is linked to the Chinese Communist Party out of Singapore. But I do think there is another element, and I'm interested to see where we go with this with 90 days, that big tech is scared of TikTok. TikTok is a media, which we all know about, that really gained its footing in the pandemic. And it's an incredibly intoxicating social environment, videos. I know people who just love TikTok, and they've kind of moved off the Snapchat, the Facebook. I think Instagram is still their biggest rival, but whatever. I haven't looked at the numbers today. But they're all scared because of one thing. TikTok's getting the advertising money. It's all about money. That's all they are scared of. I mean, I'm not saying that two things aren't true. I'm not saying that China isn't harvesting data about American consumers, American social media. They are. They absolutely are. But on the other hand, are you telling me that all these other big tech lining up against them, it doesn't have to do with the advertising hit? Of course it does. TikTok is just the newest thing. And I was talking to my little brother, a couple years ago, and I was like, TikTok is the first social media to break through the stranglehold of the big five that I can remember since maybe Snapchat or, something like that. And he's like, yeah, it just doesn't happen. And I don't know what all the machinations were that happened, but I really do think TikTok will be the last big breakthrough in the social media landscape. And it is possible it could be the preeminent and the number one. It might be already, but I think Instagram's still a little far ahead. Facebook, that's for the old fogies like me, but I don't know. We shall see what happens in the next 90 days. You're going to have a huge conflict inside the Trump administration because he does curry the favor of big tech, which does not like big TikTok. But Donald Trump has repeatedly commended TikTok for helping him to victory in 2024. So, if I was the president, I'd want to be on the good side of probably the most viable social network site. And here we go. So we're going to see the second incantation of Donald J. Trump. I was really thinking about him a lot today, and it came off with seeing Jimmy Carter's funeral the other day. And Jimmy Carter really was an outsider. He was somebody who really didn't kowtow down to the elites, to the power base in Washington. He did things on his own. And Donald Trump is definitely like that. Now, in my estimation, he's doing it because he sees it as a business thing. He is there to make money. That is the first and foremost thing. The Trump Hotel in Washington, D.C. The Saudis renting the top 3 floors for 4 years of his administration at double the normal rates. I mean, come on. I mean, the golf clubs in Scotland, the golf courses in Virginia and New Jersey. You got to have the Secret Service there for 3 weeks before and after whenever he golfs. Well, it means they're there all year. I mean, come on. Well, how much is that costing? Okay, it is what it is. I'm not going to be like a lot of these people who sit there and go, well, it used to be like this and it used to be like that. Yeah, you're right. It was. But you know what? This guy's changed the game. This guy has fundamentally changed the game. He's not George Bush. He's not Barack Obama. He's not even Joe Biden. This guy is playing outside the fence. And you know what? You better have your come to Jesus moment because he's not changing. And we're going to sit here and we're going to have basically 2 years. He doesn't understand this. He's going to have 2 years. Because after the next congressional election in 26, he's a lame dunk president. Now, granted, he might run for president again, and everybody sits here and says, well, the Constitution says you can't. Well, that's true, but really, at the end of the day, all he needs is 5 justices on the Supreme Court to say he can run again. We shall see, even though he is the oldest president ever inaugurated today. Oh, I'm telling you. And here goes into my mantra for the next 4 years. When we were growing up, we had dads, we had granddads who fought in wars. And it really makes me sick when we have Veterans Day or 4th of July or one of these assorted holidays and everybody says, oh, thank a veteran, appreciate it. Honestly, we don't have a clue what they went through. We don't. It's all BS. It's all BS on BS. Because I don't know what it was like to sleep out in the jungle for 3 weeks as it was raining every day in a tent that had leaks, people shooting at me. I don't know. We're just a bunch of wussies. We sit here, our electricity, our TikTok gets banned, and we think it's the end of the world. Well, you know what? This is our moment. This is our moment to peacefully resist power and to fight for what we believe in. And it's going to be discouraging. And we're going to have a lot of defeats along the way. Maybe we'll have victories. I hope we do. But at the end of the day, I'm going to make a prediction right now. Donald Trump is coming in, approval rate at 45%. He will leave office in 4 years with an approval rating under 20%. And the Democrats will capture all 3 branches or all 2 branches of government, the House, the Senate, and the presidency in 28. It's absolutely going to happen because what we had was Alzheimer's. We had a 4-year break from Trump drawing hurricane maps in Alabama. We had a 4-year break from him telling us to put bleach in our blood. All those crazy things we got every day, we're going to get them again. And when the prices don't go down and when the border wall doesn't get built, how come I'm not even hearing him say anything about the border wall? What the heck is that all about? I guess it's all mission accomplished. I don't know. And like I said yesterday, we have a long list of accomplishments by the Biden administration. And I'm going to be honest, Trump's going to accomplish a lot of stuff. Will it be productive? We'll see. Let's see what happens with mass deportations. I'm not going to just start jumping over the moon right now. Let's find out what really happens. We know one thing about Donald Trump. He is the guy who will say a lot of things on the public stage, and then when you get behind, he's like, no, I was just joking. You know, there's a bluster, and then there's reality. Let's just find out. And let's peacefully, I do applaud Joe Biden and his administration for peacefully and smoothly doing the transition, for actually giving them information, not being obstinate, not being stubborn like the Trumps. I mean, Trump didn't think he lost the election. They weren't handing over any information. And, you know, Joe Biden had about a 3-month hole he had to dig himself out of, be it as it may. And the final thing I'm going to talk about is the Hamas-Israel ceasefire. And I couldn't be happier. I'm glad to see that we're finally going to get around Netanyahu. That dude is John Gotti. Make no mistake. That guy is Tony Soprano on steroids. That guy is a bad, bad dude. He is an evil mother effer. He sucks. Straight out, okay? We could go into how this all started. We will in a second, but we're going to have 90 Palestinians that are being held by the Israelis released. In the last 15 months, Israel has killed 47,000 Palestinians in the Gaza Strip, wounded over 110,000. And I don't even think that begins to talk about where we really are. They had 110 bombings in the last 3 days. They knew the peace accord was coming. They were going to scorch the earth, just like this podcast. And, you know, those innocent people, the innocent Palestinians, it's just a wasteland. And I don't know where they go from here. Happily today, 600 humanitarian trucks are coming in, but from what I understand, they actually need 60,000. So we're going to find out what's going on. I always wondered about how this war is. What's going to be the moment of reckoning? Netanyahu was up on corruption charges, and then the war started, so they put off putting a recall election on him. I am amazed how a country like Israel is brilliant enough to figure out that Hamas was going to use a beeper system. A beeper, yeah, it's 1989. Use a beeper system to alert their proxies. And Israel found out about it a couple years ago, intercepted the transmission from the factory to Hamas, put explosives in the beepers, sent them out without them knowing, and then exploded them a couple years later. Like, wow. But that same country didn't know 3,000 people were coming over its border in October of 2023? How does that work? I mean, it's like having Goodwill Hunting and all of a sudden he can't count to 3. It's like, yeah, I don't get it. You got the one guy over here, he's the smartest cat on the block, and then all of a sudden he says, yeah, I don't know how to give you change for that buck. Sorry, I'm going to just keep it. I don't know. Well, happy Inauguration Day. Kudos to Trump. Kudos to the Republicans. I hope you make America better. I hope you make it a better place for all the people who live here. And I will talk to you tomorrow.